Hi, welcome to Live Dungeons and Dyslexia. My name's Adrian, and as you can see, I've got another special guest. This is actually only my second interview of the year, so right at the end of Feb already January, already payday, nearly for most people.
Nearly.
I am joined by Adam, also goes by your superhero name of Fenriss77. So would you want to just introduce yourself, mate? I'm sure people have seen you on my channel in the lives before anyway. So
yeah, no, I've been a regular player in the live stream. So my name's Adam. I go by Fenriss77 on Discord, and I am the one-man band who is D77 Games. So I'm the guy that does Shadows of Empire and those books for Shadowdark. I've published some other stuff for Shadowdark. Shadowdark is mostly what I do currently: design, cartography, all that good stuff.
Not just those settings for Shadowdark, though, is it? That's actually my #1 setting of all time for Shadowdark.
I blush every time I hear you say that.
But it's not just because it's a really good setting. It is. Do we say it's a rip-off of Warhammer?
It is a homage.
Yeah, homage. That's gonna. Yeah. So yeah,
to Warhammer's old world.
Yeah. So what drew you to that? Is that just purely your love of Warhammer, or?
Yeah. So I'm a Warhammer guy from back in the day. I have Golden Demons. I've won grand tournaments. I did the whole play thing a bunch, and just the old world setting is just it's my favorite fantasy setting ever.
Yeah.
And so I started playing. I read Shadowdark, and I did a couple of game jams with it. I was like, man, this game rocks. This is awesome. And frankly, as much as I love the old world, I find the actual Warhammer Fantasy roleplay a little bit clunky for my taste. I found the older I get, the less patience I have for that kind of system complexity. And so I was like, you know what? I think that I could probably make the old world work for Shadowdark. And honestly, it didn't even start off as something I wanted to publish. It was something I was just kind of doing for myself. But, all of a sudden I was like, you know what, maybe other people might like this. And a surprising number of them do.
It is. It's going really well for you, isn't it? And yeah. This was actually Fox Off was the person that bought this to me. He did a review of it very early on his channel. I was like,
I think that he was on I have a creator thread on the Arcane Library Discord. I think that's where I met him first.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm terrible at that. I really need to get into more of those threads and actually have a look at stuff.
Well, it was so I lived in the Canadian Arctic for many years, and so there wasn't really like, I don't have a community of people that I see live to like show stuff that I'm doing to. So the creator Discord kind of functions as like a design journal of sorts for me.
Yeah.
So it's useful for me, and it's always nice to have people reassure you that yes, this is actually good, and you're not just living in your own little echo chamber.
Yeah. But I'm not. Warhammer Fantasy up until this year was my favorite game of all time. But I've got to play it on a VTT. It's just I need someone to do all that heavy lifting for me now.
Yeah, and I've played it lots. I love it, man. Yeah, it's a lot of heavy lifting. I actually haven't really cracked the spine of the new world game yet. That might be better, but the other reason I did my own thing with the setting is that my preference is for the earlier editions of the old world. Not so much the new stuff. The new stuff, there's a lot of like clockwork steampunk stuff going on, and let's not even talk about Age of Sigmar.
yeah. I don't mind the mechanics. The mechanics in Soulbound it's a really good system. But
I don't mind the mechanics.
I haven't got a clue.
It's just that's not the setting that I fell in love with.
No.
I want more clothes on my dwarves, frankly.
I'm playing one of those.
Yeah. So
I'm like Iron Man in it. That's all I do.
So what I wanted to sort of dial back the old world, or that idea, to something more like when Slaves of Darkness was a big deal. And there was that D100 table for the mutations, and if you rolled like a 98, you got a las cannon. I mean, I haven't gone quite that far, but that version of the older world, back when Bretonia was mucky and dirty and plague ridden, and not all shiny knights in armor.
Yeah,
because really the core piece of my memory about Warhammer Fantasy is actually from the tabletop game. I bought the Warhammer Armies book first because my buddy had the tabletop rules, the thick one, and just something about the illustrations and stuff. That is, if I have to go back to something that made me love Warhammer's old world, that's the book, Warhammer Fantasy Armies, from like, I don't know, 85 or whenever that was published.
Yeah, I didn't actually get into Warhammer. I think the first thing I ever played was the Bloodstones campaign for, I think it was first edition. I think never played the enemy, but it's such a good world. We've got a question here from Chris Black, which you might want to get into.
So how do I see the chat?
Okay. Well, okay. I'll just read it out. So, what's up?
Oh, you can just read it out. Okay, there it is.
What?
Oh.
When is it coming, please?
Oh yes, I got a lot of questions about the POD. So let's deal with this first, because if you're familiar with my stuff, there's a lot of people who are asking about the POD. So what I have is 2 Shadows of Empire projects sort of on the go side by side. I have the Ashalom City book, which is the core settlement in the valley, and then I'm going to expand the core rules into a much bigger book and release it as print on demand. So that bigger book and the Ashalom book, there was a lot of overlap in terms of what might have been in one or the other. And something that has ended up being a lot more work than I thought it was going to be is to decide what the heck do I put in Ashalom and what do I put into the expanded core book. So I think I've got that all straightened out. Ashalom is going to be more specifically a setting book. It's the city and some of the surrounding area, and I'm going to take a lot of the mechanical stuff and move that into the POD. So I'm hoping to still put that out first quarter of this year. I think that before the summer anyway, but I would like to get it done faster than that, because there's going to be new writing, but I'm thinking it'll be between 200 and 300 pages. So the POD is going to collect all of the rule stuff from all of the existing books. So all of the monsters, for example, from all of the current smaller PDFs are going to be in one big bestiary. So all the mechanical stuff will get put into the POD and sort of rationalized, and it'll be a larger book, so that, because all those things together feels a little bit more like a rule book. Plus, I'm going to add some additional stuff. There's probably going to be some more stuff about chaos.
The vampire.
Sorry?
You got to put the vampires in.
See, the vampires is a good question. So I've done 2 sorts of undead already, and I would like to maybe get some other stuff done before I go for undead number 3.
Yeah.
I really want to get the greenskins done next. So in addition to the POD and Ashalom, the other thing that's on the table is going to be a supplement that's going to be dwarves and probably cave goblins up in the north of the setting. But that's third. I've got a lot of books.
Yeah. Well, it's great that you've got that source material to sort of pull on and just keep going for years, isn't it? I think.
Well, and it's funny because the design process for Shadows of Empire has been so strange. It was not. I did not plan to release these 4 books in this order at all. So I wrote the first one, great, and part of the inspiration there was I had just done something for a Knave game jam, and the thing I did was vaguely empire-y, and I was like, you know what? I wonder if I could do the old world primarily via random tables of various sorts. And this is what you see at the beginning here, all these random tables of different things. So to express that setting in terms of some random elements rather than pages and pages and pages of paragraphs. So obviously the first book was released first on purpose, but then it was all just accidents and coincidences. So after the first book, there's a couple of small adventures that go with it. I was like, I need to do a proper module. And so the module was going to be called Durance Vile, and that's the adventure that's in Deadlands. But as I was writing Durance Vile, I had a lot of people saying, look, we really want a hex map. Like, there's no setting here. And I was like, well, okay, well, you know what? I can add some setting to Durance Vile. And so this ended up being the setting and the adventure, and you have Deadlands. And then the Tower of Hapshut is in the Deadlands, and I kind of had that idea, so that happened. And then, honestly, Blood in the Water, the only reason I did that is because I had done some tester maps of the inn, and I was like, man, I need to write something where I can use these maps. And so we have Blood on the Water. So now I get back to some sort of like rational, like what should come next, and we need the core setting book next. Yeah. This is what we need.
And the bestiary.
Yeah, well, the expanded bestiary. So I'm gonna. The combination thing, it's not going to be just stuff from the other PDFs. I'm going to write a bunch of new material as well. I'd like to go through sort of the classic old world and pick up some of those little things like the Jabberwocky and some of those other things that are like classic old world monsters, and make sure I'm not stepping on anybody's IP. But
hence the reason the gutter skins.
So it's
little assassin rats.
Yeah, well, this is also why people may have noticed this, but the setting is not in the Empire, or even a version of the Empire. So the place where the setting is for Shadows of Empire is based loosely on the Border Princes area that's just below the Empire on the old world map. And there's one book on the Border Princes, but there's no real overlap. So I wasn't going to be stepping on. I'm not like trying to reskin Nuln and stuff, which I didn't want to do. That was going to be too close. So it allows me some space to develop my own setting elements while still maintaining that Warhammer feel.
Yeah, cool. Right, before we get back into looking at the 4 books and then showing a link where you can pick them up, no print on demand, I'm going to give you the standard question I give everyone that comes onto my interview channels. So how did you get into the hobby? What was your sort of first experiences, and how old were you?
This is a good story. So this would have been 1986. I was up in the attic at my parents' house, and my mom had bought my dad the Moldvay BX box set, the basic box set, for Christmas, like some years previous, and he'd farted around with it, but he never played it. I had no idea it was there, so I just kind of found this thing like a treasure in the attic, and just the box top. Ooh, what's this? And then I opened it and I read it, and man, that was it. That was it. I was done. I've been playing and doing fantasy and sci-fi stuff ever since.
Oh, fantastic! So your dad was into the hobby then?
No,
no. It was just one of those presents.
He read a little bit of sci-fi and something, and I guess I don't think that either my mom or my dad really knew what it was, but she got him something sort of sci-fi fantasy adjacent because she saw it in a store or something. So complete happenstance.
Yeah. Oh, cool. And then where did you go from there? What was the first game that you sort of really played?
We played a lot of. So I had Dungeons and Dragons, and the kids across the street had Warhammer. So we went back and forth between those two games. And this is thankfully there were multiple good game stores in the small downtown in the small city where I grew up. So, and both of them and one especially had just a magnificent used section. And so, I didn't have a lot of pocket money, but the used section allowed me to sort of buy some stuff here and there. So it was mostly D&D and Warhammer. And then we get into the tabletop thing, and that was a bunch of years. And then I got into painting miniatures, and I played a lot of tabletop Warhammer. And this was so now we're into like the early 90s. And then all of a sudden we're playing Vampire, and Magic the Gathering comes out, and all of a sudden the game store is just a happening place.
Yeah, because you were quite into Magic, I think, when we spoke.
I was. I'm not anymore. I haven't played in years, seriously. One of my boys is a fairly serious player.
Yeah, I started again. I want to say it was about 2 or 3 years ago, and it's one of those games that you play it again and you love it when you play it, but I don't want to spend any money on it. I don't really want to get him. I need 4 copies of this. I've only got 1 copy of this card. It's really good, but hold on, they're 60 quid each.
I think it's way more fun when you're just kind of playing more rando decks.
Yeah.
Well, and also there's a style of play that my son introduced me to called Commander. 100 card decks, you're only allowed 1 of each card. Yeah. That's much more my style.
Yeah. The problem is I only know 3 people that play it, including me. So, and you need 4 where it really shines, doesn't it?
I played with the kids because they were playing, but that's about it. I have no interest in trying to like collect.
No. So where did you grow up? Because I know is it Norway now?
I live in Norway now. I grew up in Southern Ontario, Kitchener-Waterloo for my sins.
Right, yeah.
So that's about an hour west of Toronto.
Yeah. And then you're back Norway and then back to Canada. Is that what you kind of?
Yeah, well, so I lived on Baffin Island in the Canadian Arctic for 10 years before we moved here.
Right, that sounds remote.
Yeah. You can only get there by plane. January and February is very regularly minus 50. It's cold.
Yeah.
But so that isolation made gaming difficult because it was essentially online or nothing.
Yeah. So what was it? Work took you out that way? Is it a wife?
Yeah, my wife got a full-time faculty job at the college there, and I actually ended up just after we moved. I'd been a chef for many years, but I went back to school and Jeff Whitty. I went back to school and got my bachelor's of education in my, mid to late 30s, and then worked as a teacher there for 4 or 5 years before we moved here. So that's what I do now. I'm a teacher.
Yeah. Because you're waiting quite a while. It's like, if you've not on my Discord, you'd be aware that Adam and I have been like chatting and like say played loads of games together. So this is weird because we were saying, I think it was about 2 months ago, you actually just met and you're like, am I actually ever getting an interview? You know, you've got. Well, I'm your favourite setting, and you were just quite point blank going, look. And I completely
forgot. It occurred to me that I think there was a part of me that thought that we'd already done this because like we chat a lot like on the Discord, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, why am I bottom of the list? I think it's because you swear a lot.
I have not uttered a single foul word.
You have not.
Actually, come back. Being a teacher has been the best thing ever for me, having to manage my mouth.
One of our kids' teachers got caught swearing at the kids at school about 2 weeks ago. He's still got his job, but oh my God, you should have seen the conversations coming out of that school. But that's the standard of teaching we've got in my local town. I'm not overly bothered about swearing, if you know what I mean. But got the question here from Chris Black. I assume you can see that. I think legally you might get in trouble if you approach Cubicle 7 to go, hi, I've done this setting.
So if he's asking,
not a bad thing.
Let's frame the question this way. Obviously, I have a certain command of the basic ideas behind the setting. I can write Warhammer style stuff. So the idea of freelancing for Cubicle 7 is maybe not strange, but frankly, I hadn't even really thought that hard about it. Like, I don't even know if they do freelance stuff. They might. I should probably look into it. See, so something else that's true is I'm still very new to this whole writing and publishing thing. Like, I've only really been doing this for a year and a bit. Like, I'd done 2 small adventures for game jams, and then I did Shadows of Empire. So it's not like I've been writing games for 20 years and have not thought about Cubicle 7. It's still a fairly new thing for me. I would love to, but like I said, I have no idea how that works, and it might make the Shadows of Empire thing complicated.
Yeah, I suppose. By the way, so I've heard they freelance. I've interviewed a few people from Cubicle 7, so that they are Sempers alongside a fellow Canadian that loves the cold. I was going to say something then, but then I realised I'm live, so I won't. So Patrick and Dom are really awesome. Okay, we have a look at. I sort of teased Shadow of Empire. I keep going Shadows of the Empire because that was that Star Wars book, wasn't it? So
yes.
It's when I actually edited back when I did my review of this, I had to edit out the of very subtly. You can see my face slightly move several times in the video. So because only when I finished it, and I went, oh, it's not called what I've been calling it. So
I got a lot of people joking about making mistakes with exactly what it's called.
Yeah, it's
but at the time I wanted shadows in there from Shadowdark, and anyway,
yeah. So here we have. So it's 34 pages. I'll share the link where you can pick all 4 books up actually right at the end of the video. I think
it's 34 pages. The original PDF that's A4 is 34 pages. There's also an A5 version, so it's the same scale as so you have the older PDF here. The new one's A5 to match all the other ones.
Okay, cool.
So it's the same content. I just redid the layout for A5.
Yeah. Does it make any difference when it's on PDF, whether it's A5 or A4? Would I notice?
Well, so it affects what you can see on spreads. So if you've full screen your PDF, A5 scales okay to look at the spreads like 2 pages at a time, whereas A4 is a little bit big, and there's enough of us older folks with the reading glasses in the hobby that could be a lot.
Yeah, but I hate it when someone sends me they've got a book and they go, "Oh, we have a look at it," and they send me spreads, and I'm like, I don't like looking at spreads.
Well, so I do the layout in spreads. It doesn't really matter, but if you're actually holding the physical book, of course it does, because you open it up and you might not be. So it doesn't really matter. I think that the newer one is better laid out in some spots because I'd had a bunch more, but the information is the same.
Right. Okay. So we got 3 classes. Is it 3 or 4 classes? 3 classes, isn't it? So we've got the Lancer sitting on back of horses, the Merchant, and then the Sentinel, which is when they witch hunters and bounty hunters type thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So any plans to do, troll slayers?
Well, so
I know you got to be careful.
Yeah. No. Well, so the Troll Slayer is a really iconic piece of Warhammer IP. So I am going to have to be careful with that. But I have it has come up a couple of times, and I will be doing something like a runesmith for dwarves for that book.
Yeah.
But that's a ways off, and I'll probably figure out how to make that. I'm not going to write a class that's going to be dwarf only. I don't want any of my stuff to be tied to specific. Like if you want to have like a rune related human, that's going to be okay.
Yeah. I learned something when I did this video. I did not because I was like, oh, Bardins. You can swim in Bardins. And then someone in the comments went, you do know Bardins go on horses. And I was like, do they?
Oh, yeah.
Having never owned a horse. This is the joys of my amateurish YouTube channel. Where I just
there are some other things that I'd like to do with character classes. I don't know when I'm going to do them, but there are plans to maybe do a few more.
Yeah, because that's one of the big things that Warhammer's known for, isn't it? It's one of the games with them probably heading towards the most amount of careers.
Yeah, so I am going to be expanding the career path thing. So there's a truncated little tiny life path system in here that fits into Shadowdark, and I'd like to try and expand that a little bit for the redone PDF, for the POD, I mean.
Yeah. So should we just talk about Gutterkin here?
Sure.
Then they're not rip off of Skaven in any way, shape, or form.
Not at all. The idea of rat ogres is a complete coincidence.
Yeah, that is weird. How you managed to get away? You obviously must have looked up rat ogre and gone, actually, that is not a trademark.
It's not one word. It's hyphenated.
Right. So that gets around it, I suppose.
Well, and honestly, I was very careful not to use phrases and terms. And it really is more of a gesture in the direction of I tried very hard not to use any of this is also why I'm avoiding some of the newer stuff, because it's in their newer books where they got really specifically picky about their IP, all the races.
Yeah.
So Gutterkin worked, although somebody pointed out it was, it's the game called Spire. There is actually something in Spire called Gutterkin. And honestly, I must have read that in Spire and I hadn't remembered, and it popped into my head as a term because I didn't remember that they were the same. But yes, the rat men equivalents.
Yeah. So we've got an Orc Slayer. There you go.
There we go. That'll definitely completely differentiate it from.
They won't know anything. So we've got some freebooters in here as well, which is good. Orcs, corruption table, obviously, because that's one of the most defining parts, I think, of the Warhammer world. The slowly endless corruption that the players are going to get, and then obviously mutations. Wasn't it Will from Runeforge that didn't like the fact you did a D66 table and then you did a few D20 tables? I remember watching his going, well, he's a bit picky sometimes. I love Will. He's ace, but
it was really dependent on how many friggin' ideas I had, honestly.
Yeah.
It's a D66 of everything is a lot of work. And frankly, at the time, because this wasn't really like, oh my God, I'm going to publish this thing. I was like, you know what? I got up to 12 and I'm out of ideas. Great. It's a D12 table.
No, I've done that. Like I was saying before I came on, how I've written a few things and submitted them. And I've done that. I've got D10 tables, D12 tables, D8 tables.
We have all these dice.
I don't want Will to look at it because he's just going to go, he just didn't think of enough. Any ideas to do a blue and pink horror? How would you divide that?
There's a blue and pink horror in there. The void spawn's in there.
Yeah, but they're not.
If you look.
I missed that.
And then it pops into two little ones.
Yeah.
No, I did that. Honestly, the horrors are one of my favorite demons. I couldn't not. There's no way I wasn't going to do the pink and blue thing.
No, you got to do that. And then obviously, this may or may not be the sort of rock that corrupts.
Well, So I didn't want to call it anything with a stone on it. I tried to take out any reference to the word warp. I'm using void and some other stuff instead. So we have the black crystal is the equivalent of warp stone.
Yeah. I'm so getting demonetized on this video. I can have Cubicle 7 all over me. Then I'm coming for you. So that was the first book that you wrote, wasn't it? Which sort of, like you say, there's no real sort of world in there, but there's like loads of random tables you can build a world.
So yeah, the random tables are all based very much on the old world, and it'll give you, like, if you needed to generate set dressing for a session, it's going to feel like the old world. But that was kind of the experiment. The actual like paragraphs of stuff for the setting starts in Deadlands.
That's cool. That's the one I actually have up next. But we've got a question here from Agent Blackwell. I think it's pretty much the similar one that Chris asked right towards the start.
The art that's in these books is entirely public domain, with a couple of exceptions. The picture of the black crystal, I actually did that myself. And that's it. There's no AI art, but all of it's public domain, and all the maps, with the exceptions of, I think, the ones in the mini adventures, all the maps I did in Affinity. So I did them by hand. Those aren't AI generated either.
Yeah. Because alongside this book, there are, was it 2 or 3 adventures?
2 little adventures.
Yeah.
Just because I wanted people to be able to play it, but at the time I was so excited about it, I wanted to publish it. So I was like, well, I'll do a couple of little one-shotty things and throw those in, and there we go. Yeah.
And your artwork on your maps is really nice.
I've enjoyed drawing maps in Affinity a lot.
And you're very kindly offered to do some maps for the adventure that I've just sent him. So we're looking forward to that. Right. So when we get to the setting book, we're looking at Shadows of Empire, Deadlands, the regional setting. Now, this is a chunkier monkey, coming in at 88 pages, and it has got a level 4 to 6 adventure, which I remember. I probably should have looked at this a bit sooner, but this is the one with the hex crawl in, isn't it? So this has got the hex crawl map.
And this is going to be the way this book looks. Before we start opening the pages, this is going to be the basic format for almost all the other books that I released. They're all going to have a region, so there's going to be a hex map and stuff like that, and there'll be an adventure in them. I like the format a lot. It's also very similar to what Kelsey does with the Cursed Scrolls. So the format is one that's Shadowdark players are used to. So yeah.
Okay, so it's quite a bit longer in here. So Gemmel Valley, written after a famous author.
Yes, David Gemmel is one of my absolute favorite fantasy authors. So a little Easter egg there.
Yeah, favorite book.
Probably.
Or favorite. Let's go favorite hero then.
From Gemmel.
Yeah,
that's obviously Trust the Legend.
Yeah, but what about Skillgallen?
I also love Skillgallen, but Druss is the man. And so I fell in love with Gemmel. And like the first, I think, 5 books, I went in and I specifically found Druss the Legend books and read those in a row.
Yeah. So I did Druss, and then I did Waylander 1, and because Waylander was really fun.
Yes.
Because I think Waylander covered the 13 as well, didn't it? It was like the background into how the original longer. But I actually went and met David Gemmel.
Oh, really?
And we got to a book signing, and we approached him with a business plan to take his world and make it into a role playing book.
Mm-hmm.
And he just shut me down very quickly. He was like, not interested. I will never sell my IP, because he wants total control of it. Then obviously Stella finished off the last Troy book, and it was only the day I thought maybe I should reapproach him. Her.
Because, it's a great setting.
It is. It's a wonderful world. And I think it would make naturally. We should do a Shadowdark version of it. Just make our own. Right, I'm gonna edit this out of my video, so no one thinks of it. Okay, so going into the Deadlands, do you want to sort of talk us through the sort of region and?
Yeah, so I'd been paging through Free League's Walking Dead book, and I was like, so this is after I'd already done a bunch of the writing for the adventure that's the back half Durance Vile, and so there were already zombies in it, And I was like, you know what? I would really like to do a Walking Dead kind of thing with a fantasy, like with the exploration outdoors part.
Yeah.
So, well, that sounds like a fun little thing to see if I can do. So now we have a little regional magical apocalypse. And so now the way this magic works, if you die, you're very likely to rise as one of the Walking Dead. So you have herds of zombies wandering around the land that you hope to not run into while you're hex crawling.
No, cool. I've just suddenly thought of a question. Trust the legend. If you had to pick an actor to play him, who would you pick?
So if he was a little bit younger, the two huge Scottish guys from Braveheart, the dad and the son, the guy that played the dad with the big white beard,
James Osmond.
But I don't remember his name, but I think he's probably too old now.
Yeah. Yeah. See, my pick, and I asked him on Instagram, and he avoided me. Henry Cavill would make a great younger Druss.
Yeah, he's got that fresh-faced woodcutter sort of thing going on.
Yeah.
And I can certainly see him doing the fighting in the pit scene.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. But I think we could age him as well, and but I think Mel Gibson, leaning on Braveheart, he would have made quite a good elderly Druss. No, he'd need to. That's the image. That's the problem, isn't it? Trying to find a 60-year-old man, but you can age people or just CGI it now, and make it look terrible.
Yeah.
Just make a puppet do it. It'd be fine. Okay, so here's your hex crawl map, because you modified this hex crawl map because of me.
So this hex crawl map is done using, oh my god, a program that I don't remember the name of. Everybody uses it. But so when I did an interview with Will about this, and I got some feedback on it, a lot of people were not overly impressed by the hex map. And I'll be honest, neither was I, but it was the only reasonable free hex map software I could find.
Yeah.
And so I decided to so I redid it myself, and I hand drew all of the art for the hexes. And so it looks much better, I hope.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the old hex map.
But it's one of those things, isn't it? It's functional, but it looks a lot nicer now than.
Yeah, well, and so some of the stuff like the line of the cliffs and the river are much more obvious on the hand drawn one, because I put all the hexes on, and I imported the hex art for all the other stuff are individual and like copied, but the river I just drew under the hexes, so it's a continuously hand drawn river, so it looks more like a river than this silly thing does. Okay,
Dean saying Incarnate is great for maps.
Oh, I think that might be the one that I use for this, but again, this is the names of programs are like the names of people. I forget them instantly.
Yeah. So, and then we've got the two main locations in here, haven't we? Got Paradiso Mine, which is the adventure in here, and then we've got Fort Durance, which is like the home base, which again is in a lot more detail, just sort of fleshing out the world. And then Tower of Hupshut is this adventure here, which we're going to come on to, which is very Egyptian in feel.
Well, I don't know Egyptian undead. I have no idea where I got that idea.
A couple of rock movies with the mummy in it.
Exactly.
Oh man, that was a terrible film, wasn't it? The Scorpion King. After watching The Mummy 1 and then The Mummy 2, I was really excited for the Scorpion King. I thought that's going to be really good, and it was. I've watched it. It might have got better over time, but I watched it once.
No, I doubt that it did.
Yeah,
I really doubt it.
Yeah, it didn't turn out like Sons of Anarchy, because I remember trying to watch that and I thought it was rubbish. And then about 2 years later, I went back to it and actually, this is really good when you get through the first couple of episodes.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So, obviously, loads of zombies, including the grizzly bear zombie in here.
Yeah, well, if you're going to have Restless Dead, it needs to be more than just normal zombies. So the normal Shadowdark zombie is in there, because the Shadowdark zombies are actually kind of tough. So I wanted a little gimpy, like level 1 zombie. So that's the Deadland zombie. And then also, it's not interesting if it's always the same bloody zombie. So we need a range of stuff, and we need some big bad guys, so we have zombie lords.
Yeah. And then we got the zombie herds, this is quite a scary section of the book, actually, isn't it?
Yeah. So you have zombies that you can fight. The zombie herds are more like an environmental hazard that you really need to avoid more than anything else. This is Walking Dead level undead. This is very much OSR. You can't fight everything you meet. And the big herds are probably on that list for a lot of groups of adventurers, depending on the size.
Yeah, run. It basically implies just run away, doesn't
it? Yeah. Well, the idea is that it provides you with the running away and hiding scenes from a show like The Walking Dead. That's the kind of wilderness thing that you're supposed to be doing there. And I thought it worked really well because, frankly, a lot of wilderness exploration doesn't actually have interesting and new things to do. Like one hex crawl is much like another in terms of the hazards and other stuff. So running away from zombies sounded like fun.
Yeah. And then we get into I was really surprised to see this in here. So it's like, do you want to play a non-Skaven in your campaign setting? Really nice option.
This was somebody on the Discord while I was doing this, because when I write my books, I often post like whole pages as I go, and somebody's like, "Man, you should do a Gutterkin campaign thing." I was like, "Oh, that's a great idea." So I just wrote it and put it in.
Yeah. Always good with some classes and things like that, and then all your little talents and stuff, and then some additional. Go on, sorry.
I'm going to do a similar thing, I think, for the cave goblins, or maybe the goblins and the orcs when I do that book. There'll be options for that.
No, cool. So Fort Durance, there's going to be no spoilers here. What I'm going to try and do is avoid spoiling the adventures. I think so. It's like Tower of Hapshire. I'm not going to show a lot of because I don't want to. And obviously, once we get to Blood in the Water, I can't because I'm playing in the adventure tomorrow. So, which is why I still haven't reviewed it on my channel yet. So I might just read it, Okay, no, don't open that door. You open that door. I'm going through this door.
I will say nothing.
No, I hate that. I know you think you can forget stuff if you've read it.
No, you can't.
I even played games that like 20 years ago, and they go, should we rerun that adventure? I'm like, I don't really want to, because at some stage you're going to remember some of it, aren't you?
Oh yeah, it'll all come back.
Yeah. So a variety of different factions was in here. So this is built out really well for a little mining community, which is, it just gives the players a safe space, doesn't it, to come back to? But it's not quite as safe as
it's safe for a certain value of safe. But this was really part of what happened here. Is I wanted to try and sort of realize some design ideas I had about what I thought settlements should look like in this kind of setting. So I wanted to avoid doing paragraph after paragraph of like history and other stuff. And I wanted to try and make as much as possible of it gameable material. So it's factions and interactions and stuff like that. And I don't spend a lot of time doing talky paragraphs. Yeah.
And you cleverly do that marketing. There's certain points in here that refer back to Shadows of Empire. Like, well, I'm not going to put it in here. You're gonna have to go and buy my other book.
Well, and there was no point. And this is supposed to be a series, and I'd kind of always had that idea in the back of my head that I was going to do a bigger book at some point.
Yeah. But also, Cubicle 7 have been doing that for years. They'll go, do you need the stats for this? You can go and buy this book. If you want that, you've got to go and buy this book.
Well, this is, again, so part of that is I know exactly where the price points for these books are. They're not expensive. So I'm not shooting people back to a $60 hard book. These are $5 US PDFs. So I didn't feel too bad about it.
Yeah. And when we get to the end, we're going to show you where you can pick up all 4 of these for about $5. Which is absolutely crazy.
It's so it'd be $20 American to buy them separately, and it's $15 to buy the bundle with all 4.
Yeah. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because the bundle on my screen shows £2.91 for all 4 books.
Well, I'd have to go look into that, but that's not where I set that price point.
Okay, you might want to have some sort of. It might be because I've already got some of them. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be.
I think it is because
that's the free copy thing. Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. It's discounted the books that I've already got because one of them you sent me not through TTRPG.
Yeah,
that's why. Okay, cool. So, adventure. We'll just move on for. I don't think we can. I'm just going to skip through that bit. This is your There you go. And then the bestiary. So the bit that I just skipped through is it's a big chunk of the book, isn't it? It's the mine that they turn up, and I think it was 4 levels, and it's obviously a vertical up and down type thing, but there are secret tunnels where you can jump some of the levels.
Yeah, I JK'd the crap out of that dungeon. There's multiple ways to go up and down between the levels, plus there's a central shaft. And again, so this, much like the Fort Durance was an exercise in can I realize these design principles that I've been yakking about online for years, the dungeon was the same thing. Can I write something that I think has some of these principles? Is it interactive? Are there factions? And honestly, Durance Vile is better at that than Tower of Hatchet. Tower of Hatchet is more of a straight ahead dungeon crawl. But so that's part of that. So there's lots of verticality to it. There's factions, there's other stuff like that. So it was a bit of an experiment, but I'm pleased with the way it turned.
It looks really good because it's got that one bit as well. And I'm not going to say what floor it's on, but if you open up that section, it's going to let quite a lot of things in. And it kind
of Well, and so that again, that's a planning thing because for those rooms, once the players discover them, if they leave them closed, those rooms could be opened to sort of protect their retreat on the way back out. Is sort of the idea, but only if the players think of it. Like I don't think I ever say that out loud in the book. That was kind of the idea.
Yeah. I know I definitely talked about it in my review, but I'm like you say, I don't think you directly sort of say.
There might be one line in a sidebar. Maybe one line in a sidebar.
Yeah. So that's the second book that you're going to need to go and buy. The third one, I really enjoyed this because it's not Egyptian, but it is very much Egyptian in feel. And you know, I think my favorite one of the Valhalla games, Assassin's Creed. I did enjoy Valhalla, but the Egyptian one was really, really good.
Well, it's just such a strong like literary thing, like with the gods. And everybody recognizes it. It's really cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to try and do this as spoiler free as possible. So if you're watching this and a player, I'm just going to say be careful because this is predominantly, well, it's 2 adventures, isn't it? There's like a little mini adventure in this one.
Well, there's a bit of a hex crawl around it. I added some detail to that hex and some of the surrounding ones within Deadlands. And there's some stuff to do, but it's primarily a straight ahead dungeon adventure, which is, again, I hadn't done one of those yet. I hadn't written a module that was just the one adventure. And so this was me trying that out and seeing how it felt. Yeah. The other reason I chose Egypt is because I rely completely on public domain art. I knew I'd be able to find lots of Egyptian themed stuff.
Yeah.
Fantasy is actually kind of hard with public domain. Depending on what you're doing. Like there's not a lot of orcs and beastmen and stuff sitting around in the public domain waiting for you to slap them into books. So
Book of the Dead. That might be Egyptian.
Might be.
Okay, so I think we can show some of these. Obviously, we've got avatars of Sobek and drones and stuff, but these are quite frightening. These tomb zombies, because they're tomb scorpions. They're they appear quite a bit in the adventure. I don't think I can really show much more because we get into the merry men. It's this is it. So you got the bandit camp, and then it's just all adventure from there. So the bandit camp's like a mini little adventure where they
it's like another location in the same area, and it's one of those things I kind of specifically didn't tie it directly. I mean, there's links to the adventure, but it's one of those things you could use it or not because not everybody. Some games you just kind of show, depending on how you play, you might just show, here you go, we're going to play the adventure, and then other groups want to hex crawl their way in and do more exploration. So the bandits are there for that kind of game if people want to use it.
Yeah. Oh, this is nice to see from Glenn. The guys from Dark Space Philadelphia Gaming Expo 3 said hi to me. Hey, famous.
Hi, Glenn.
So yeah, thanks, Glenn. Tell Than, punch Than on the arm from me. Don't know.
You can probably show the first map without giving away too much.
Okay. This or
no, the that one. Yeah. So, well, in all of these, so one of the things that some people like to do their own mapping. All of these modules come with player map packs that are essentially the same map with all the GM material taken off. Because personally, I don't mind giving the players the map and saying, "Here you go."
Yeah.
So there's player versions of this outdoor map here. There's player versions of the tower map here, and there's player versions of the dungeon map. So you can see them without ruining too much. But this was my first go at an outdoor map, and I was really happy with it. So I was like, no, show the map, show the map.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I do like these sort of outdoor maps that then take you into a dungeon, as well as having towers, if that makes sense. See, like the players have got a lot of freedom to go up and down. And if they want to go down quickly, there is a way for them to do that as well.
Yeah. Again, I tried to JK this a little bit so that there's more than one avenue of ingress and egress. Both of them have their possible problems. And then you also, yes, you can go up the tower as well as down into the dungeon. So there's lots of directionality going on.
Yeah, yeah. But that's all we're going to say. And there may be Egyptian themed monsters in here or not.
Yes.
But this is 62 pages. Then finally, we've got Blood in the Water, which I can't go any further. It's 84 pages. Actually, we've played through the first. Do you think we're about halfway through? Is that kind of what you said?
Well, if you were going to run it normally, I think that the investigation part would probably be the first 2/3, but we kind of had to squish that down to fit into the time that we had for the live play.
Yeah.
So the way that we're running it, it's probably the first half. Yeah. But the way that there's enough information there and enough people to talk to, I think you could easily do 2 or 3 sessions of like detective work before you hit that climax that we ended the live play with, and then we move into the aftermath after that. So we're actually we got halfway through the climax. There's another part of that we'll start the live play with, yeah. And this, honestly, of the 4 books, this one felt the most to me like something that actually could have been written for Warhammer. There isn't much dungeon in it, and there's actually, it's one of the ways that Warhammer Fantasy is a little bit different than, say, D&D. There's not actually nearly as many dungeons to go into. A lot more stuff happens in cities or in towns, like above ground. So. That was something that I wanted to sort of try my hand at, and I had some ideas about how I wanted to do NPCs and how you could link NPCs and factions up. So yeah, a little bit more sandboxy in terms of the investigation part.
No, cool. But yeah, I suppose we can talk a little bit about it, can't we? Oh, we on. Not you, Bacon. Not, I don't mean that in a rude way. But thank you for the gift of membership, my ear trumpet, and welcome. Better with Bacon. That just popped up as I was clicking it. So yeah, it's probably could talk a little bit about it. So I've got a second channel for this YouTube so it's the Tabletop Tales channel, where we have live plays on a Friday, and you kindly ran. We're trying to do it as a one shot, and I think as time was going on, you were like, "We are not going to get this into."
I already knew that we probably weren't going to get through the whole thing, so we just we managed it on the fly, and it worked really well. Yeah.
And so it was a lot of investigation. There's a really cool stable bit in it. That's kind of what I'm probably gonna have to refresh and go and rewatch it.
I'm gonna have to do that. I have to do that too tomorrow. I need to figure out what information you guys picked up and make some notes, and I also have to revisit all those voices I did for those NPCs.
I remember that right at the end, you were like, "Oh Jesus, sorry, excuse my blasphemy there." Thank you, Agile. That's really, really generous. Thank you for that. I've just blasphemed in live. There you go. So yeah, if anyone else wants to send fantastic, keep it going. But yeah, you were doing some really, really cool voices, and I remember once we finished, you did that again. It was that realization and panic, wasn't it, that you're gonna have to sort of come back and do those voices?
Well, I had no plans to do voices. I didn't sit down. I hadn't it was not the plan, and it just kind of. The voices just kind of popped out. Woohoo! Look, here's some voices. And the mayor, especially, I was chewing the furniture with that voice. It was a lot of business.
Yeah. I think it's really good that we've got the same group coming back, because sometimes with these live plays, it can be quite hard.
That's always lucky.
Group back. So, but what I'll do is I'll put the link to the live play in the description of this video. So yeah, come on. Same time tomorrow. I think we're starting at 8 o'clock. So 8 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time, and then yeah, it's that'll be cool. So what have you got coming up other than obviously? Yeah, Dean is true. I think Dean is very, very drunk at this moment in time.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get a wheelbarrow to get you back to the inn, buddy.
So I know we're at the inn, aren't we?
Yeah,
we are at the inn.
The live play finished. Some masked men tried to assassinate you all in your beds.
Yeah,
and that's where we clipped it.
Yeah. Did the combat finish? I think we had finished the combat.
Yeah, it just finished.
Yeah.
We just came in under the wire. So what I'll do is I'll start tomorrow. I'll recap the previous session for everybody. And the end of the recap will be the introduction to because I'm gonna drop you guys right back in the hot mess because we're sort of in the middle of something, and we'll just go from there. So we get to start in medias res, which is always nice.
Okay, so I just want to share this. So there is a bundle to grab all 4 of these on Drive-Thru RPG. Ignore the price because I've just worked out that because the only one you've never sent me on Drive-Thru is the Deadlands campaign setting.
Right.
And I think that's why it's £2.88 plus this £2, which means these 2 pence on this thing. Roundabout right. But yeah.
The actual price, all 4 PDFs are $4.99 American a piece. So that would be $20 American for the 4. The bundle is essentially 25% off. So the bundle is $15 for the 4 of them.
Yeah, and the character sheet.
And the character sheet. Although I don't, and so the character sheet is available separately as a pay what you want file, if nobody picked it up. But I believe it's also included in the core books set of downloads now because I did the character sheet after I had published the core book.
Yeah,
because I realized that you needed to have a place to write down corruption and stuff. So you asked about what else I was doing. So yeah, I do have some other things on the go. Actually, and it's interesting we're talking about Blood in the Water. So an online friend of mine is the publisher of a number of historical games, Codex Martialis, but there's a smaller sort of OSR adjacent version of those rules called Stara Scola.
Yeah.
And that game, it's a much smaller game. And frankly, it's got the best combat system I have ever played in any role-playing game. It is absolutely brilliant. It's based on a small pool of D20s. I love it. So he's that gentleman has recently released something that's, well, it was all historical up until just recently, but he's released kind of a fantasy version of the game called Drum and Pike Fog Roll. And so that's got a little bit more of a Warhammer feel to it. But so he wanted to get some guys to run some live play stuff. And I said, well, I've got this adventure called Blood in the Water that we might be able to port over to Stara Scola fairly easily. And that's turned out to be the case. So I'm going to be porting Blood in the Water over to another rules setting and be running it live, probably as a series. I'm going to run it in more of its full time frame. So it'll probably be 3 sessions.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. And I really, honestly, I believe that Stara Scola is either $5 or $10. It's not an expensive PDF, and the combat system really is glorious. It's so good, so good. And I'm also I have a layout thing that I'm doing with one of the Dungeons and Dyslexia Discord regulars, the Marshall. So his choice. So he does. He's got this Savage Worlds Western setting. So he's got some books out, a bunch of them. So kind of like the same ideas I'm doing for Shadows of Empire, where he's going to collect those into one volume. I'm going to redo all the layout and the art for him, and we're going to do it as a POD.
Oh, perfect. So I played in a one shot of that. He ran it on.
Oh yeah, I played in that with you.
Yeah, I practically died, didn't I?
I think you did. But that was fun. So I love Westerns, and it was fun because I'm getting to play with very different fonts, and the layout I'm doing has got some elements of like period newspaper, the way that those are laid out, some of those fonts. So it's been a lot of fun to play with. Yeah. So that's I'm cracking away at that, but that's also going to be like 300 pages. Wow. But that's cool. So I think that I'm going to try, and I'd also like to I think I want to do cartography contracts. I haven't done well. Actually, I'm doing a little one for you, but that's just for credit. But
I'm gonna make you so famous. Just for
I've been very pleased with the way the maps have turned out, and depending on the ask, so I may throw that idea around and see if anybody wants to hire me to do maps. I don't know.
Yeah,
but that would be cool.
Yeah, I'll be hiring you, especially if you want it just for credit. More than happy to.
Yeah, well, for a 4-room dungeon, I think we'll be okay.
Don't spoil my adventure. Right, Semper has. I don't know whether that's you've just paid for 7 months membership. I don't really know how that works because it's then done a gift of membership as well. So if you've signed it for 7 months, fantastically brilliant. If it's a gift, I don't really know how all this works. So, but thank you anyway.
It's a mystery.
It is. Because you don't get an instruction manual on any of this works.
Well, it's like it took me 7 months to figure out how to send people free copies of stuff on drive-through.
Yes. Is it worth buying now, or should you wait for PDF? Yes,
well,
and
so
yes. I say
what I'm going to do is I am going to give people that own the current books a discount on the POD file.
Amazing.
And it's going to be a wait. Like I'm not that book is going to be big. And I have some new writing to do for it, and I'm going to get it out as fast as I can, but not at the cost of sacrificing quality or any of the stuff I want to do.
Yeah,
Ashalom, I'm hoping will be released in the next month or two at the latest. But yeah, the big book's a big book. I mean, I probably need to do new writing that's about the same scale as the 4 books that are already out worth of new stuff, and then the rest of it, I'm compiling the bestiaries. And that sort of thing. And I may or may not do an adventure collection that collects Tower of Hapshut, Durance Vile, and some of the other stuff into a companion set of adventures. I'm not sure I'm going to do that yet or not, but I might.
Yeah, because you can put all the little mini ones in as well, couldn't you?
Yeah, well, and the reason I thought of that is those maps and those ones are not hand drawn by me. Those ones I did do in Dungeon Scroll, and I would really like to redo those maps myself, and maybe expand them a little bit. They're very bare bones. Like they're supposed to be like a one evening. I want to try the Shadows of Empire rules, so here's a little adventure to try them out. They're not deep by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah,
So, Blood in the Water, Tower of Hapshut, Durance Vile, and Too Many Adventures sounds like a reasonable PDF worth of adventures, but I'm not sure if people already own all the adventures, there's nothing new in there. So that's why I'm not sure I'm going to do that. But I am going to collect all of the mechanical stuff into the POD. But yeah, so if you own all the books, I will be providing people that own the current books with a reasonable discount on the POD cost. Because you do already own some of the content.
Perfect. And this actually is a good shout because obviously it kind of showed on Drive-Thru RPG. Bloodstones it's a very good conversion for Warhammer. And I have got the next copy, and my review may or may not be coming. It should be live tomorrow night.
I talk with that author rather frequently.
I'm not surprised. Do you secretly hate each other?
No, actually. I
think you should.
He did a really nice. So somebody asked me if they could write an adventure in the setting Shadows of Empire.
Oh, brilliant!
I said, go ahead.
Yeah.
But I realized that I needed a third-party logo, and that guy just kind of whipped one up and it looks really good. So yeah, no, we get along great.
Semper's just confirming that he gave a membership, so thank you. Makes sense now.
Well,
every day is a school day.
Since we're live, yes, I have no problem with people writing Shadows of Empire adventures if that's what they want to do. Hopefully, they're not terrible.
as long as it's adds to the world, I don't really. Well, I was going to say you can't write terrible adventures. No one's read mine yet. So,
so this is why I needed a third-party logo.
Yeah.
So these are the third-party things. I wanted to make sure that I didn't end up being, if somebody else doesn't pay the same amount of care and attention to dancing through the IP raindrops, I don't want to be in any way liable for mistakes that other people make in that particular regard.
Yeah.
I have no plans to do anything in the version of the Empire that's in Shadows of Empire. I'm not going there. I'm going to keep developing this Border Princess place as my own setting and flesh out some of that. I've got some. So the core book is going to introduce some of these settings and some of the different crazy tin pot kingdoms around the Gulf. That's to the west of the Gemel Valley. Sort of introducing some parts of the newer setting. That's going to be some of the new stuff.
Yeah.
The immortal alchemist kings. All sorts. I've got ideas.
You're going to keep yourself going for ages. This is good to see. Agent Blackwell, he's ready to go for the third part of the Bloodstones. So that's good. Dean, we need a channel to collaborate on new content. I'm always happy to join on anyone else's account. And we're meant to be doing this. Bacon messaged me over Christmas, and then obviously my life kind of turned upside down over Christmas, and everything went back. But yeah, we're going to get together. Drop me another message, Bacon, because yeah, we'll get on and get together and do stuff. So what's this? Saying throw it at Chat BT. That's what you're doing. Yeah, that's the easiest way of writing an adventure. Did you see somewhere? There's I stumbled across something, and something like the top 7 of the top 10 bestsellers for sort of teenagers and to 20s on Amazon are all AI books.
That doesn't surprise me at all, and it's sad.
Yeah, it's terrible. They're all like a Harry Potter type thing, but it's something out and I was like,
and they're very formulaic, which is what allows AI to produce them. But I really, honestly, I have all kinds of issues as a creator with AI usage. This is why I decided to do no AI content in any of my books at all. Because I didn't want even a single person to decide not to buy my stuff because it had AI content. This is why I do public domain art and I don't use any AI stuff.
Yeah.
And to go back all the way to that comment that somebody made at the beginning of this, I would love to hire somebody to do art for Shadows of Empire, but I would need to have the budget to hire somebody to do art for Shadows of Empire.
Yeah, it's
and so I have a sci-fi game out called Vac-Suits and Duct Tape that I did pay a guy to do art for, and it's fantastic. But all that fantastic art has not helped it sell a ton of copies.
Yeah, it's the cover, isn't it? You know, the cover makes a difference.
Well, the cover of that game's awesome, but the game is based on Trophy, which is a wonderful game, but Trophy doesn't have nearly the same built-in following that Shadowdark does, which is honestly, I got very lucky with the synergy between the Warhammer thing and the Shadowdark thing at just the right time in terms of people wanting to buy my game.
Yeah, and you know, like I say, Fox Off reviewed it.
See, that's a good question. 3 months ago, I would have said yes. Now, I don't know. I don't know that so when is that again, Adrian?
29th, 30th, and 31st of May. My stand will be at the expo.
Yeah, that's tight. If I was anywhere close to being finished, I would try and get that done so that it could be on your stand. We did talk about that.
Yeah.
But I have some doubts, although that's a ways off. And like I said, it's going to be a big book, but only a quarter of it's probably going to be new. I don't know. Maybe. I don't want to make any promises about the POD that I can't deliver on.
Yeah. And you don't make it shoddy and then not be my number one when I redo my top 10. Could you imagine? Because it's only down from here for you.
So there's a couple of the things that I wanted to do is one of the things that Shadowdark is known for is the torch timer, which I love for underground play. But when you pull Shadowdark out of the dungeon and you start doing some more Warhammer stuff with it, and there's a lot more stuff that happens in cities, in towns, not in the dungeon, the torch timer doesn't really play in as much or as well to that kind of environment. So one of the mechanical things I'm working on for the POD is for anybody who's familiar with a game called His Majesty the Worm, which is a wonderful OSR style game. It uses a tarot deck instead of dice. Anyway, it's really cool. But I won a couple of Ennies, I think 2 years ago for best rules and whatever. But that game has something called the Meat Grinder, which I love. And the Meat Grinder is like if you combine the moments that I put in my books with traps and hazards and the torch and all your random encounters all on the same table. It handles all of that stuff all at once. It's a brilliant mechanic, and I think that I'm going to try and do a Shadowdark version of that for 2 reasons. One It's something that you can use regardless of whether or not the torch is actually a thing. And I can think of all sorts of really interesting ways to use it for like cities, especially. And for people there are people out there who don't love the torch timer. So this would be a replacement for that. Not because it needs replacing, but I wanted something that could be used. So Blood in the Water, for example, there's one dungeon in it, and it's like 4 or 5 rooms. So we're not going to be using.
I'm not listening.
No, it does. It does. That's not. It's not ruining anything. It's
I'm not listening.
So we're gonna be using the torch timer for like maybe for one little thing in this whole adventure. So it would be nice to have mechanics that were more useful over more of that. And I would like to. So I'm doing Ashalom next. This is a city setting. You don't need. There's no huge dungeon in that book. It's all going to be factions and NPCs and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna have some new actual mechanical stuff in there. I think that I will probably do my own journey mechanic as well. I don't mind hex crawling, and it will support a hex crawl. There will be a mapping key like numbered hexes, the same way the other books have. But I would also, I think, like to do a journey mechanic that's a little bit more maybe like the one from the One Ring, where you have the map and you plan out. So we're going here. We know we have to be here. We look at the hexes we go through, and that's how that's done, rather than having to hex crawl to every place that you want to go. Because this is one of the differences so if you're in the old world, there's a lot less unknown space on the map. You know where these, there's a map of the entire old world. We know where all these cities are. There's less unknown wilderness to hex crawl through anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can do hex crawls through more populated areas, but there's not a lot of, like, if I want to travel from Ashalom to the Empire in the north, well, nobody wants to hex crawl 6 miles at a time to get to the bloody Empire. We're going to spend a year role playing that out. So I wanted to have a mechanic that would handle longer journeys better, and I want something that will also eventually accommodate ships. Because if I expand the setting out to the west, then we have the Gulf, and then there's ships involved, and that's another place that a lot of games don't spend a lot of time on doing ship travel. So there's a lot of possibilities there.
Any thoughts about having a sort of fantasy American football version of the game based in Shadows of Empire?
I honestly, I love Blood Bowl. I dearly, dearly love it. I've been playing since the very first edition with the goofy foam board.
I had the first with the cardboard ones.
Oh, I had the foam board one.
Yeah, that's second edition.
With the blue and the red human teams. Yeah. No, I love the game, but I thought it was best to completely ignore that idea because of IP related issues.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, see, no, I'm with you. Blood Bowl, baby.
You're definitely gonna have Games Workshop coming for you, and that's not something.
The first significant miniature purchase I ever made was I bought a lead human Blood Bowl team in one of those little the plastic boxes that used to get Citadel miniatures in with the little slidey thing on the back, and I still have those somewhere. It was the Reichland Reavers was the team. So anyway,
in our league, I was Wood Elves, and I managed to fluke strength rolls on both of my War Dancers.
Wow!
So they had agility 4, strength 4, movement 10, armor 8, dodge, block, and jump. I think they started with,
cool.
And I didn't lose a game.
Oh yeah, no.
You know when you just like roll it and you get a 12 and you go, really? That's what I've got for experience? And everyone else was like, they're already hard to knock down. You know.
Well, a lot of their mini games. So Blood Bowl is like this. Mordheim is like this. There's a point at which some of those teams you kind of just have to retire them because they're just really too good for anybody else to really want to play.
Yeah.
I feel like there should have been an option where past a certain point you retire them, and then eventually when you have enough retired teams, you can play the Champions League.
Yeah. I think now with the latest version, because I bought it and then I thought one of my sons might want to play with me, and you had to just build. And I can't be bothered to build figures anymore because when I played it, they were the solid figures. So I went from the cardboard game to I think 3rd edition that then had all the like pre-made figures. and then like this latest edition, they all come on sprue, and I'm like, I can't. And
it's
I
a lot of business, man.
Yeah. It's I just sold it like that, unfortunately. There was a couple of comments I just want to pick up. I think this makes sense. You know, if someone's willing to write an adventure for you, good or not, it's still promotion for your game.
Yeah, well, no, and this is the thing. So, like, I'm not here to. If somebody wants to write in the setting, I'm flattered that they want to, and I'm not here to police their content. This is if they find the setting that intriguing, then I've done my job, and I'm happy to give them free reign to go add their own stuff to that if that's what they want to do.
Yeah. So Agent Blackwell also wants it darker.
Not as grim as Morkborg.
No.
So the grimness is something that if you look at Warhammer Fantasy over its history as a setting, it has become significantly less grim over time in some ways. So something that I haven't really gotten into, because I've been doing mostly dungeons and then Shadows of Empire, I haven't really gotten into the grimness of the urban settings where you get the chaos cults and some of that stuff. And some of that's what I want to do in Ashalom, is to work in some of that chaos cultist, sacrificing people to the chaos gods and stuff like that. So the Ashalom is going to be, I think, the first chance I have to really add that grimness to a bigger location and sort of to try and capture that. So there's a lot of work still. There's a lot of setting left to build, and it's not going to get any less grim, I can promise you. This is why my focus is always on the older Warhammer stuff, because that tone is just exactly what I want.
No, amazing. So, end of quarter one, definitely out? Or do you think?
So, Ashalom will be out quarter one, for sure.
Yeah. You haven't specified a year yet.
No, this year. So I have. So part of one of the struggles I was having with Ashalom is that I'm not huge on needing to have read 73 books on medieval history to make it real, but I did want the city to make sense. And I went through a bunch of versions of a map and other stuff, and it just didn't gel. I didn't look at the setting and go, yes, this is a real place. So I finally found kind of a template, the medieval knot, the way that it's set up with the river wrapping around the top. I saw a nice map of that, and I went, aha, I can use this. And so now I've got all of the I've got most of the wards of the city mapped out, and the book is there in an ideation, in the idea stage. I know what I'm doing. I just need the packet full of grimness and darkness.
Hopefully you'll get a boost when 5th edition comes out as well. Can't believe they're doing 5th edition.
Yeah, well, and this is, I think that I got very lucky with the timing of Shadows of Empire, because all sorts of people were really excited about Shadowdark, and they were excited about the Western Reaches, but the wait for the Western Reaches has been long because it's such a big product. And I think that I've benefited from people searching for what other Shadowdark stuff can I do while I'm waiting for all of these cursed scrolls and other stuff to come out.
Yeah, and also being number one on my list. That's probably
So actually, something that somebody asked me about that I thought I'll mention here. I've had actually a number of people ask me about the Colleges of Magic as an idea. Yeah. So the really old Warhammer stuff, you've got it wasn't the Colleges of Magic, but the Colleges of Magic are awesome. I love them. Now, of course, I'd have to reskin them, but something that if you look at all of the Cursed Scrolls content taken together, all of them have a new kind of caster in them. And taken as a whole, it's very close to being just about right for the Colleges of Magic. And if it's close enough, I think that I will just let that stand as the Colleges of Magic and not try and reinvent the wheel and do it for myself.
Yeah.
So rather than the Colleges of Magic, there's going to be some alchemy stuff in Ashalom, and I'm also going to spend a significant bit of time on the Inquisition. Which will sort of tie this into Blood in the Water, of course, which has that whole Inquisition thing going on. But yeah, so I've got a slightly different version of the Inquisition from the one that's in Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. But yeah, no, I'm really excited to do that. There's going to be room to play Agents of the Inquisition in Ashalom as like a kind of campaign to play. That's going to be the new campaign style that's in that book. So that's going to be fun. I'm excited about that.
No, amazing. Last thing we've got. Agent wants it set more on first or second editions. I like fourth editions. I'm not even going to pretend to say that I like third edition.
I like Cubicle 7's newer stuff more than I liked some of the newer versions of the tabletop game. I thought that the grimness and darkness of the setting, especially at the tabletop level, really kind of vanished at a certain point, and I didn't like it as much. It wasn't as gritty. It was a lot shinier, and I prefer the gritty version. But the new Cubicle 7 books generally are fantastic. Like the Salzman City book is one of the best City Source books I've ever read, and is very much, of all of the City Source material they've done, that's the one that inspired me to do. I'm going to do like a big city setting eventually, same sort of scale as Salzman set at the top of the Gulf. But yeah, no. So they've done some great work, and I do think that it's appropriately gritty in spots. But the system, no, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I don't know. I'm old. I don't like clunky systems.
No,
clunky. It's a lot of cognitive overhead. So I love the stripped down Shadowdark thing. I don't have to think too hard. I don't have to look up tables of stuff. Yeah, anyway. Plus, it's hella easy to convert stuff for.
I just want to see Adam's face when I share this comment.
Oh, Age of Sigmar. No.
Yeah,
no. This is the game that shall not be named.
Yeah, you weren't here when he was having a bit of a fit about that earlier.
Oh, yeah, that was enormously disappointing.
So the Soulbound world and the game system is absolutely amazing. But so I've played a campaign in it. I don't know what's going on. I don't understand.
So the 4 Chaos Gods are briefly covered in the core book, as is the equivalent of Sigmar, Magnus. So obviously I completely ripped that from Magnus the Pious. But so that the role that Sigmar plays in the Warhammer world is filled by a roughly similar character. But I would like to really build out the Chaos Gods, and I think that I'm going to add some gods to the fold. There's some Chaos Gods that used to be part of the setting that aren't anymore. And I think one of them, although why can't I remember this? It's because I'm trying to think of it on the spot. I'm going to port that in, but I think I'm going to add some, I don't know, call them like avatars of some of the gods to get more specific, because, you want more bad guys. So there's going to be more chaos content coming, and more gods, and more demons, and more mutations.
Yeah. So I'll deal with Agent Blackwall's question by I'm just gonna show it. I think that's probably
the Sentinel class is the one I designed to handle Witch Hunter characters.
So you should be able to see them now on the screen.
So they get they've got something that's a little bit like Hunter's Mark from 5th edition, where they get they can declare a quarry that they're trying to hunt down, and they'll get some bonuses to some investigation type stuff around that. Because Shadowdark's got no skill system to speak of, and no investigation mechanics or anything, obviously. So that, and then they get some advantages on like some of the skills that should be for that sort of character. Plus, they get access to firearms and other stuff. Now, what there's none of in that class is there's no faction support there, because I hadn't written the faction yet. But I will. The faction stuff for the Witch Hunters is something that's going to be in the Ashlon book, which is the next book that's coming out.
Cool. And then we just got this question, Malice.
Malice? Oh God, I don't know why I can't remember the name. So there was the god. There was a 4th chaos god, the one that was like more chaos than chaos. This is chaos that goes up to 11. Was the god? I just don't remember his name. And there's also the gods of order, which don't get mentioned at all anymore. And them, I am also going to be throwing into the setting at some point, probably in the print on demand book.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Right. I think we'll leave it there.
Perfect.
So end of Q1. Sadly, we're going to miss the expo for any books, but
well, like I said, it's possible that Ashlon will end up being print on demand, because Ashlon is going to escape. It's not going to be ported to the print on demand book. What I'm planning is that the Ashlon book and the print on demand book are going to be the 2 books. If you want to play Shadows of Empire here you go. There's the setting stuff and the stuff that's in the main book, and there we go. So I may do Ashalom as a print-on-demand book. I don't know. But you're the first person I'll tell if I decide to.
Excellent. No, Adam, thanks for your time. Thanks for coming on. It's great.
Thanks for having me.
I'll say
eventually.
Yeah. Thanks for being last on the list.
Awesome.
When do you think print on demand will be ready?
I am very much hoping that it will, the longest I would like to have it out before the summer. But again, like I'm a one-man band. I do everything. I do the maps, the layout, the writing, everything. So I can't promise. Like the other books came out very quickly, but part of that is because at the time I was unemployed waiting for my Norwegian residency to come through. Now I'm gainfully employed again. I don't have whole days to sit down and write adventures anymore, unfortunately.
You're a teacher. You only work 4 weeks of the year.
Oh, shut
up. Yeah, no, brilliant. So everyone for all the comments, all the generous gifts of the memberships and the money. It's always really thankful. It really just helps the channel go, and everything I generate, it all just goes back in and buy more things for reviews. And so yeah, we will be back live tomorrow night on the other channel. So it's Dungeons and Dyslexia Tabletop Tales, 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. I also want to say British Summertime. I don't know why. Stupid country having 2 different time zones. But yeah, we will be. Actually, I'll put part 1 in the video link for this video as well. So
cool. That's a good idea.
Yeah. I'll see you tomorrow, mate.
All right. Yeah. See you tomorrow night. Thanks for having me, bro.
Cheers. All right. Thanks all. Bye.
Bye.